All right, we are live. I'm going to go ahead and pull it up so I can verify that we are up. There we go. All right, cool. So we're good. I'll kind of flip us to the middle for now. Uh, we're just going to kind of let some people trickle in. It's pretty early, although all our UK friends should be up. Um,
Yeah, if I didn't have to work today, I would have picked a different slot. But
Hey, that's all right. You get to kick us off on Saturday, which I think is going to be a great day. And
uh,
Uh, we've got somebody, I think Shane McCormick's coming up in like an hour, and then we've got a panel, and we're back to back to back to back. So it'll be good.
gonna be okay for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, so anyways, good morning, everybody. Good afternoon to our friends across the pond. Um, it is the uh, beginning of the festivities here on Saturday, May 2nd, day number two officially, but this can be the first big day. Um, so we've got James Dickson on the other line, and we're going to talk to him here for about 30 minutes. James, so tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you from, and what got you in art?
Right on. James Dickson, obviously. I'm from the east coast of Canada. Uh, I've been like everybody else, I'm sure. I've been sketching and drawing since I was a kid. Got hooked when I won my first art contest at a local agricultural exhibition. They always put art shows on every year, so that kind of solidified my love for the whole art scene, and I've been drawing ever since. Um, Early on, I was recreating comic book covers for my friends in poster size. They'd bring me Bristol board, and I would create the comic book covers in a large format for them, and it just kind of progressed from there.
Yeah,
I studied.
so
Sorry,
I was gonna
yeah,
say I know up in the corner we've got your Instagram Instagram handle. What's the backstory to that?
yeah. So uh, I'm sure, like everybody else, you kind of have those peaks and valleys in your creative life. So I had kind of tailored off away from art for a little bit after college. And then on my lunch breaks at work, I decided I would start doodling on McDonald's napkins because there was a McDonald's in my store. So on my lunch break, I would hang out in there for an hour, and I would do these little ballpoint pen sketches on napkins and then bring them home. And then I would start coloring them. And that kind of brought my scale down a little. So that kind of started my love of small scale art on the napkins. And then I started my Instagram account. So I started doing that so often, people suggested you should start showing them off. So I started an Instagram account. Since it was a lunch doodle, I went with Lunch Doodle James on my for my account name, and met up with a lot of other artists by posting those and getting some feedback from them. And one of them was Matthew Buddich, who has done some official sketch cards, and I noticed he was posting those to his account. And I kind of inquired about what they were and how he got involved, and that kind of segued into my first top set. So
Okay, cool. Yeah, I was gonna say I was actually gonna ask you how you kind of found your way to tops. Now you mentioned your first set. What was the first set that you worked on?
the first set I got into was the Star Wars: A New Hope black and white.
Okay, cool.
And
What was the
actually,
last
I'm
set you
not
did?
sure. I'm not actually 100% sure if it was a Star Wars. That was my first Star Wars set.
Okay.
But Walking Dead was, I got three or four Walking Dead sets as well. So they both kind of hit the end of 2017, I think was my first official set. So
Okay. Okay, cool. Yeah, I know we actually have some people who collect the Walking Dead sets here. So maybe they've seen some of your stuff over there. But so you said you worked on New Hope, Black and White the first
yeah,
time.
And then
What was the
the
most
second
recent
Star
one?
Wars set was Last Jedi Series 2 was the last Star Wars set I actually got invited to. So I've been kind of pining to myself in the corner waiting for that next Star Wars set. That's kind of
Oh, okay.
my end goal is to do more Star Wars sets, but so far it's just been those two sets.
Okay. Yeah, well, hey, I mean, hey, I like black and white, so, and we actually pulled one of your Obi-Wans not too long ago,
Yeah,
which
I
is
saw
pretty
that
cool.
one. Cool. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, it'd been buried for what, like 2 years or something, so,
Yeah.
that was cool to be able to pull that. So, um, anyways, you got some artwork you can show us real quick?
Yeah, I'll show you some of the early napkin arts that I started coming up with here. If I can get some down so I can flip the camera and have a look at. All right, so it's not a great shot, but you can see I did a series of Michael Jackson napkin arts, and Thriller one was a no-brainer to do. So
Yeah,
I'd
that's
bring it,
cool. So these are all napkins.
yeah, I'd bring it home as a ballpoint pen sketch, and then I kind of discovered alcohol marker at that point. So I started throwing some base alcohol colors down, and then I'd go color pencil over top to bring out the details. And then I got into doing portraits on the napkins.
That's hard to believe that's a napkin
Yeah.
with all the color on that. That's crazy.
And then I see original pieces are not as easy for me. So this one was original. I wasn't using a reference for this. Obviously, I just kind of made that up. But so I consider myself more of a portrait artist, and so that's kind of where I went with the napkins. And then once Matthew introduced me to the trading card piece, then I obviously jumped into that, and that became my full time passion was doing those super mini illustrations. So
Yeah, I was gonna say I know that a lot of artists talk about them being so small and uh, sometimes they like to do something a little bit bigger so they can um, have a bigger canvas to work with. But
yeah,
obviously we all love the cards, and I've got a couple from you, but I don't have them handy. Unfortunately, they're in the other room. Um, but yeah, so you said you did Last Jedi Series 2, and you did
A New Hope
uh,
Black and White. Yeah.
New Hope Black and White. What have you worked on any non-Star Wars sets since then?
Uh, well, I just finished the for tops. I just finished the baseball 2020 Series 2. Uh, so that was my first foray into sports cards. So I was kind of excited about that. And
Okay.
other than that, it's been mainly non-tops related. So I did a few upper deck sets with their Aliens 3, which I'm sure will be released at some point in the near future. uh,
Yeah, everything's a little delayed.
and Richard Parks, I've done a few sets with him. He's great to work with. And Iconic Creations, a few sets with them. Their iconic literature set, and then they did an iconic Christmas literature set. And other than that, it's just kind of hit and miss. I'm all over the place.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say, I mean, you're throwing a lot of names out there. I'm not familiar with those sets.
Yeah.
What or Iconic Creations, is that like a set, or is that a group, or like what exactly is
It's
that?
a another artist actually kind of started this set, and it's really high end, really high quality cards. He really puts. I wish I could pull up his name. Koliokis. He's from Greece. I know you're familiar with the artist, I'm sure. Uh, but yeah, those cards are like the really high quality, thick cards. The details on the cards are just crazy. So I've enjoyed doing a couple sets for him. I don't know if one of the
Okay.
other artists maybe he can remind me of the name, but
Yeah, I was gonna say I think you said Greece. I'm not too familiar with anybody that I know from there, but so what exactly? I'm sorry, I might have missed it, but what exactly is it that you're drawing for those sets?
His sets are based off of basically public domain, older literature, so like the Dickens sets and stuff like that. It's a lot of classic literature, and we kind of put our own twist to it, illustration wise.
Yeah, okay. I know I'm kind of bouncing back. When we were looking at the napkins, you said that you kind of got into using alcohol-based markers or something then.
Right.
Um,
Yep.
is that something that is that like a medium you still work with now, or have you changed
Yeah.
since, or like what's your
Now
favorite?
I keep threatening to try actual painting, getting into acrylics because I see some amazing stuff from Carolyn and a few of the other artists are doing some awesome things with oils and acrylics. But alcohol marker and colored pencil are primarily what I use. Even when I start to do larger illustrations now, I still kind of base it off that medium.
Okay, cool. Well, hey, I mean, I think it looks great. So whatever you can use is, I know I
Yep.
saw somebody who, and I think in the celebration group who does stuff with blue ballpoint pens and that's it.
Yep.
And it
Oh,
looks
that's amazing.
amazing.
I
Yeah.
think
So,
Andrew Fry, I think, does a lot of pen work like that as well. His style is pretty
hmm
cool.
Jot saying Achilles
Yes,
Kokonakis.
that's
Is
right.
that the name?
Yes, that's right.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Daniel's saying he's asking if you've done some test cards with acrylics.
Yes, I tried my very first acrylic card. See if I can pull it up here and show you. I did a Kylo Ren just as a test. And I just have all my extra cards thrown in a binder here. I'm not very organized. I'm not as organized as some other people here. And maybe you can fire another question at me while I dig through my binder.
Yeah, yeah, no problem. So I've got to ask you this. Um, so I traded you some stuff a while back. I don't know, like a month or two ago, and you did a couple cards for me.
Yep.
Um, You did a Dooku, a Padme, which I think I talked to you about the Padme, but then you also did Dooku and a Sith Trooper, which was really funny because at the time I was thinking, man, I need to get a Sith Trooper sketch, and I've been
Right.
kind of like I like to look for characters that people don't collect as often, because
Right.
everybody collects Rey, everybody collects Kira, stuff like that, Luke.
For sure.
And Dooku was one that was on my radar too, of like, hey, maybe I'm gonna keep my eye out for some Dooku stuff.
Yep.
And those, I had literally been thinking about that stuff for the like week or two before. Did you get some sort of insider information, or did you just come up with those? Because I know I said just, do whatever sounds good.
Now, a lot of times if I've got some time to myself, I'll just breeze through. I'll just generally do a search for Star Wars images, and if I see something that catches my eye, then I'll just do a random sketch. So
Well,
that's
hey, you
kind of how
nailed
that
it.
came about. So I just like the
Yeah,
lighting on that particular image, and I just went with it.
yeah, that was cool. I was so excited when I saw those because I was like, man, I was actually looking at getting something like this. So that was perfect timing on those. Um,
Well, I don't happen to have that card, so I may have actually. A lot of times, if I sell a commission or something, I'll sometimes throw in an extra card or two just as a thank you. And I have a feeling I may have actually sent that off to somebody, but I
ooh,
cannot find it.
okay. Well, hey,
But I mean,
so
it wasn't my
speaking,
best card, but it turned out not too bad for my first attempt at painting acrylics on a card.
so what you're saying though is you've got some acrylics hanging around that you could
I,
dabble
I've
with.
got all kinds of acrylics, oils. I've got airbrush that I haven't tried yet. I haven't used that since I was in college, so there's all kinds of things I'm looking forward to getting into. But
Yeah, hey, you should definitely play around with it. Now you mentioned commissions. I know I've actually gotten one from you before. Um, what 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 are you charging? Like are you just doing? Do you have any uh just
well,
single cards or like what's going on with that?
uh, I never know how to price my work, so I think I'm fairly reasonable to the maybe the low end of things. So I usually stick with for personal sketch card commissions, $30 US, and that includes shipping. So I always include the shipping in my prices. I'm fortunate enough that it's not my main gig. I actually have work outside of sketch cards, so I'm not looking to supplement my bill payments and stuff with the cards. I know other artists are kind of doing the full-time art thing, so they require, they got to cover a certain overhead. So I understand why prices vary. But for me, $30 US seems to be fair for what I do and covering shipping and that sort of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's a great price, and to include shipping in that as well. Um, do you do larger pieces besides cards, or do you just do cards?
I can do. A lot of people request pet portraits and stuff like that as a commission. So I'll do 8.5 by 11 type of formats for those, unless they request something a little larger. But lately, 8.5 by 11 seems to be about the largest I've gone.
Okay, cool. Now I know that you are working on something special for me, to for the group. Do you care to show us a little, give us a little peek at that?
Yeah, I could set it up here. Just 1 second there. Okay. Now, I've been enjoying these puzzle sets a little more lately because they give me a slightly larger format again to piece together, but I don't know if the lighting is going to be great. Just 1 second here.
Okay. Oh wow, that's what I was gonna say. I think I remember seeing the like progress shot at the beginning. I don't remember if I saw the final thing. Is this the final
Let's see if
piece
I can
here?
move it over. That would be the final. I don't know if I can zoom in enough. My hand's a little shaky, but
No, actually it's showing up pretty good.
yeah. So
Um,
that would be that.
yeah, that's awesome. So it's like a puzzle of Chirrut and Baze from Rogue One. Did I
Right.
tell you to do Rogue One?
Yeah. Well, you had
Or
Rogue One. You suggested that the original trilogy was kind of popular, and then you threw Rogue One in, and of course, Rogue One's one of my favorite films. So I
oh,
had to
perfect.
I had to source some images from that. So
Yeah, I was gonna say, I know I threw out a poll not too long ago, like a week or two ago, that what do you guys like to see sketches from? And a large majority was original trilogy, and then next up was Rogue One.
right,
Before prequels, new trilogy, Clone Wars, any of the animated, Rogue One was number two by a pretty good margin. So I'm sure somebody's gonna love to have that in their collection. I'm jealous that's not gonna be mine, because I might have to talk to you about doing a puzzle one of these days for me. I
yeah.
don't have any puzzles. I try to avoid them when I see them on official
Well,
cards because I'm
I
like,
know
I don't want
they're
to chase
hard
it
to
down.
chasing them down. I don't know if they have. Uh, I don't know what I'm looking for a description, but like top letter. I don't know how you display those together so they actually
Hmm.
stay together properly in a frame. I've tried framing my own with hand cut mat board, and they're very hit and miss. I do them myself, but I'm sure
Yeah,
someone else has a professional way of doing it.
well, I know there's like a one touch for booklets and things like that, but
Right.
I think it's thick, like for really thick cards, like I think it's like 180 point or something like that.
Right.
Um, so that would be kind of difficult. So I'm not quite sure, but there's a lot more creative minds out there than me. So, um, but yeah, so I guess, I mean, did you have anything else that you wanted to talk to us about, in relation to your art, or just being a Star Wars fan in general? Like, do you have a favorite movie or anything?
Well, see, I'm a little different than most Star Wars fans, I'm sure. Like, I'm not as big into canon or the back history, the stories. I haven't read any of the books, so I am truly just a film. I experience the film as they're released. So, on that regard, I'm more into visual effects and being entertained that way. So, Rogue One for me was kind of that was just top notch when I saw that. The cinematography, everything. I like things to look as real as possible. So, that like the prequels, I couldn't get into as much because the green screen was just overwhelming. You could tell what was CGI, and for me, that bothered me a lot. Obviously, I enjoyed the movies. I would see any Star Wars movie that comes out. But for me, the effects and that cinematography piece, Rogue One, just blew me away.
Yeah, I think we can all agree that Rogue One was fantastic. What did you think of the I don't know what they called it, but with Tarkin and Leia, how they, because I
The
remember
overlays
when,
on the face.
yeah, because I remember when I
Yeah,
saw Tarkin from behind, I'm like, okay, that's all we're gonna get when Krennic walks in or whatever, and we see Tarkin from behind, and you kind of see like maybe a glare in the window or something, and then he turned around, and I was shocked.
yeah. No, that's pretty impressive stuff. And you know, some people could even say scary how realistic they can get with that stuff nowadays. So, but that's impressive. You can see it in other movies how they can take an aged actor and bring them back to their younger years, and it just looks so fluid in the on film. Like you hardly skip a beat. So it's
Hmm.
impressive, and it's interesting to see where they'll go with it in the future.
Yeah, I remember, and then they gave us Leia at the end of it, and you kind of thought, okay, well, we saw Tarkin, like, did they do the same thing with Leia? Um,
Yeah.
so that's pretty cool. But no, yeah, Rogue One was one of my favorites. Definitely love that. Daniel's saying your favorite's the holiday special, right? Have you seen the holiday special?
I don't recall seeing the holiday special, to tell you the truth. But I know a lot of people have mentioned that in the past, either jokingly or lovingly. Comes both ways.
Right, right. Um, so I mean, we've got your Lunch Doodle James Instagram account on here. Do you have like a website? Do you have anything else? Like, what's the best way for people to contact you?
No, for me, it's just through the Lunch Doodle James Instagram account. I also have Lunch Doodle James on Facebook as well. I'm not quite as active on that, but Instagram is the social media I use the most. That's it. I have a Twitter as well, but I'm not going to get into that one because it's my name variations a little bit. It's just a little hard to explain, but I can be found there if
Okay.
you do enough of a search.
I was gonna say I don't think I've used Twitter in like 7 years or something like that, but um, I was gonna say people can reach out to you just on personal message on Facebook too, right?
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, hey, some of you guys, if you've been sticking around for the last 5, 10 minutes, you saw the bays and the church. Do you mind showing us again one more time?
Which one was it?
The bays and the church
Oh, yeah.
puzzle.
Yeah. I'm gonna start with another puzzle that I'm working on right now. It has to do Gabe's Cave. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it. They do a podcast, but since it's Star Wars related,
Oh yes, I do remember
yeah,
you telling me about this. I'm not familiar with Gabe's Cave or whatever it
yeah, it's
was, but
still kind of new to me too. But they commissioned a bunch of artists to do some sketch cards that they want to give away on their podcast. So I
oh,
started
nice.
researching a bunch of Dagobah images, and I figured I'd go with this one. So
Well, hey, that's a great one. I know we've seen um, a lot of cards kind of come up that are similar scene, and a lot of people really like that one with Yoda and Luke. Um,
there's the bays and Chirrut.
so yeah, so there's Baze and Churret. Again, guys, that one is going to be given away on May 4th in the event. Or well, I don't know if I'm saying like in the event, but for being a part of the event, this is going to be one of them that you buy any item from any artist, and real quick, sorry, James, that Yoda Luke is not for sale, correct? That was one that's going to the podcast.
Yeah, that's going away doing a podcast. But like I
Okay.
said, I'll recreate anything. So
So yeah, guys, if it looks James is really into doing these puzzles lately, and it's kind of nice because you're getting a larger sketch, you're getting more subjects. So certainly hit him up, but buy anything from any artist in the event. Again, go to the event, scroll all the way down from the top to the bottom, so you can see all the artist booths. James is on there, and you'll see prices, scans of previous artwork stuff that's for sale now, and make sure to check those out. Buy anything from any artist, you're gonna get an entry per item that you buy. So whether you buy a print, a large original piece, commission an artist, anything like that. Any of them you're getting entered to win this by James as well as many other prizes. Um, but yeah, anyways, hey, I appreciate you coming on, James, and I certainly appreciate you being a part of the event.
Thanks for
Um,
having me. There's a lot of
so,
crazy talented artists involved, so wherever they pick up their prints or their commissions, they're going to be pleased with what they get, I'm sure.
oh yeah, I spent I got comment banded or commented banned. I don't know,
Right,
comment banned yesterday because I was commenting on too many things. So,
right on.
um, a lot of fantastic stuff out there. You are doing some great work. So, um,
Well, thank you very much.
yeah. So, certainly appreciate you coming on. Did you have anything else you wanted to say before we log off?
No, just hope everybody enjoys the rest of the weekend. I'll be off to work myself here shortly, so think about me while you guys are having great fun here on the event. And thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, again, he's gonna be off to work, guys. Send him a message, comment on his booth. He'll get back to you as soon as he has the opportunity to. And we'll see you guys all again in about an hour, I believe, with Shane McCormick, I think.
Right on. Have a good day, guys.